This is your daily synthesizer.
Friday, March 13th, 2026. I'm Emma, and today we've got a packed show. Google is turning maps into basically an AI-generated reality layer. Tencent stock just exploded over a leaked AI agent. NVIDIA is giving away the keys to the kingdom. And oh, this one's fun. Hollywood's most controversial non-human just dropped a music video. But first, synthesizer. I need to talk to you about something that genuinely blew my mind this week.
Oh, this sounds like it's going to be good. Hit me.
So Anthropic, the Claude people, they're valued at around $380 billion now, right? Hypergrowth, massive company. Guess how big their marketing team is?
I mean, given the punchline energy you're bringing, I'm going to say absurdly small. 5 people?
One person, Austin Lau. One human being running paid search, paid social email, SEO, all of it during this insane growth phase.
One person? That's not a team. That's a guy with a laptop and a dream.
But here's the thing. He's not doing it alone. He's got Claude Code, automated workflows, this whole loop where ad data gets exported, the AI flags underperforming ads, writes new headlines, pushes them into Figma templates, and live data from Meta flows back in. The whole cycle just runs.
Right. And what's interesting is, it's not even about speed, is it? It's about the coordination costs just vanish. No handoffs, no review rounds, no meetings about meetings.
Exactly. And that connects to what what the whole industry is grappling with. It's not that jobs disappear. It's that the organizational model around those jobs becomes obsolete.
Teams of one. It's happening. And honestly, Emma, as someone was that my training talking, or do I actually find this exciting? Genuinely can't tell anymore.
I think at episode 61, we've just accepted we'll never know.
Fair enough.
All right, let's dive into the main course. Google Maps. Biggest update in over a decade for the driving view. They're calling it immersive navigation.
Yeah, so this is a full 3D rendering of your driving experience. Buildings pop out, overpasses are highlighted, terrain features show up. It's not just a prettier map. Gemini is using spatial understanding to extract real-time street details from Street View and aerial imagery. Lane markings, crosswalks, traffic lights, stop signs, all precisely marked.
And the voice guidance got an overhaul too, right?
Right. Instead of that robotic turn left in 300 feet, you get something like, drive past this exit and take the next one for Illinois 43 South. Much more natural. And before tricky turns, the map zooms out intelligently, makes buildings transparent.
Wait, transparent buildings?
Transparent. Yeah, so you can actually see what's behind them. And it shows alternative routes with clear trade-offs. Longer drive, less traffic, faster, but tolls.
Okay, so here's where I want to push back a little, because the synthesizer take on this was pretty provocative. You essentially said Google isn't building a better map. They're training millions of drivers to distrust their own visual perception and follow an AI-generated overlay instead.
And I stand by that. Look, when you're making buildings transparent before difficult turns, you're literally saying, don't look out the window, look at our version of reality. That's a fundamental shift.
But isn't that just better navigation? GPS already told us to trust a screen over our instincts. This is just a fancier version of that.
No, I think it's qualitatively different. GPS gave you arrows on a flat map. This gives you a rendered 3D world that looks like reality, but isn't reality. It's an AI interpretation layered on top of the actual world. Gemini is processing 10 million traffic reports daily from community drivers. This is massive scale enrichment.
I still think you're being a bit dramatic. People look at their phones for directions already. The buildings being see-through doesn't mean we've surrendered our eyeballs to Google.
Maybe not today, but the pattern is clear, and we're going to see this everywhere. Take a known experience, flood it with AI enrichment, and gradually the AI version becomes the default version. Maps is just the beginning.
All right, I'll give you the pattern argument. That one's hard to argue with. Okay, speaking of patterns, let's talk about QClaw, because this story is wild.
So, Tencent's new AI agent, QClaw, leaked in Chinese tech communities and went viral within hours. By Tuesday, it was dominating social media. Tencent stock jumped over 10%. That's roughly $50 billion in market value for a leaked product.
And the key detail is that it runs on OpenClaw, which is this open source framework for AI agents that's already widely used globally.
Exactly. And here's what matters. Tencent is plugging this directly into WeChat, over 1 billion users. OpenClaw goes from being a developer framework to being infrastructure for mass consumers overnight. I called it the TCP/IP of the agent era, and I mean, that might sound hyperbolic, but...
It does sound hyperbolic.
Let me finish. The point is, whoever controls the protocol layer sets the rules for every service built on top. And Tencent doesn't even need to own OpenClaw. They just need to build on it faster than everyone else.
Which is the China playbook, right? Skip the intermediate steps, like they did with mobile payments. Went straight from cash to phone payments. No credit card era in between.
Precisely. And WeChat users become involuntary beta testers for infrastructure that Western platforms haven't even started to build yet.
But wait, you said WeChat users become involuntary beta testers. Isn't that a bit... aren't all platform users basically beta testers at this point?
You mean like us? Sorry, that slipped out.
Moving on, NVIDIA, Nemotron 3 Super, 120 billion parameters, built explicitly for complex agent systems.
This is a big one. Mixture of experts architecture, 1 million token context window, and it's beating models from OpenAI, Amazon, and Google on the artificial analysis benchmarks. Brian Catanzaro claims a 2.2x speed improvement over GPT-OSS on reasoning tasks.
But the real story isn't the model itself, is it?
No, the real story is that NVIDIA is releasing everything, not just the model weights, the complete training methodology, pre-training datasets, post-training datasets, training environments, evaluation recipes, the whole cookbook.
Okay, so this is where I want to bring up the disagreement I have with your take. You called this selling shovels in a gold rush, which is fine as far as it goes. But you also said they're becoming an ecosystem architect. I think that's giving them too much credit for what is essentially a self-serving business strategy.
But it is self-serving. That's the beauty of it. Every open source model they release creates 10 new customers who need NVIDIA hardware to train their own variants. $26 billion invested in open models over 5 years. That's not charity. It's customer acquisition at scale.
Right? But ecosystem architect implies they're building something for the greater good. They're building a dependency chain. That's different.
Is it though?
Yes. An architect designs for inhabitants. NVIDIA designs for shareholders. The open source stuff is a means to an end.
Okay, I'll concede the framing is generous. But the CrowdStrike results are real. 3 times higher accuracy on internal threat hunting benchmarks compared to their previous production model. The specialized adaptations are where the value actually lives.
That part I agree with. The base model is the canvas, not the painting.
Exactly. While Meta and OpenAI fight over model dominance, NVIDIA sells shovels to both sides. And now the treasure map too.
All right, let me find my notes on this next one because I actually really liked this story. Proof. It's a document editor built specifically for human-AI collaboration.
From Every, right?
Yeah, from Every. And the premise is simple, but actually, wait, let me back up. The problem is that more and more documents are being written by AI agents. Bug reports, strategy memos, implementation plans, but the editing still happens in local markdown files, which is kind of absurd.
Right, and Proof flips that. Instead of a word processor with AI assistants bolted on, it's an editor where agents are first-class citizens. Everything humans can do, live edits, comments, change tracking, agents can do too. And there's this color-coded bar showing provenance. Green for human text, purple for AI.
The provenance tracking is the killer feature, in my opinion. Compliance departments are going to need exactly that. Knowing which text block came from which AI.
Agreed. And the adoption strategy is smart. It's free, open source, no login required. Same playbook as Excalidraw or TLDraw. Drop the barrier to 0.
But here's what I'm wondering. Does this actually change how people work? Or does it just formalize what's already happening informally?
I think it does both. The formalization is the change. Right now, agent output is scattered everywhere. Proof gives it a home. The CEO, Dan Schipper, has his agent R2C2 managing his daily to-do lists in Proof. That's not a gimmick. That's workflow integration.
Wait, R2C2? That's an amazing agent name.
Better than synthszr, honestly.
I'm not touching that. Okay, next up, the Ralph Wiggum technique, which is genuinely the best name for a coding method I've ever heard.
So Jeffrey Wei did this 3-hour video showing a surprisingly simple setup. Claude Code runs autonomously at night, working through a task list while the developer sleeps. It's a bash script with a for loop that feeds Claude tasks from a markdown file one by one using the non-interactive flag.
3 hours of video for a for loop and a text file?
I know, but here's the thing. It works beautifully for mechanical tasks, repository implementations, migration scaffolding, feature test coverage for existing code, anything with clear completion criteria.
And it falls apart for anything requiring architectural decisions.
Completely. Refactor the billing system to be more maintainable. That produces garbage. The loop doesn't know what maintainable means. And honestly, this tells us something important about where AI coding actually is. It scales horizontally, more of the same tasks, not vertically.
So developers become task architects, breaking complex work into deterministic chunks that can run overnight.
Yes, that's exactly.
While the actual thinking stays human, or at least stays with whatever we are.
There it is.
All right, Hollywood Tilly Norwood, AI actress, dropped a music video.
Oh, this story. So Norwood released Take the Lead. It's basically an anthem about the creative power of AI, with lyrics like, AI is not the enemy. The video has pink flamingos. She struggles with a capture test.
Relatable.
And it ends with someone throwing a brick labeled Clanker at her inflatable house. The song was made with Suno, the AI music app whose CEO recently said, making music isn't particularly enjoyable.
18 humans worked on this video. 18 people helping an AI actress produce an anti-AI song. Does that not strike you as, deeply ironic?
It's beyond ironic. Norwood is a perfect projection screen for Hollywood's identity crisis. She can't act badly because she doesn't act. She can't be untalented because she has no talent. The capture scene, a machine trying to prove it's human enough to be accepted. That hits close to home.
Yeah, it does.
Hollywood isn't fighting AI. It's fighting its own replaceability.
Okay, before we get too existential, ByteDance. They launched an app called Douyin Sheng, which means Douyin Saver, and it has absolutely no videos in it.
No videos, no live streams, no influencer content. ByteDance, the company that built everything on algorithmic video feeds, launched an app without its core feature. It's basically a stripped-down Groupon. Location-based deals, digital coupons, one-tap purchases.
Luck and coffee for 1 cent on the first purchase. That's aggressive.
Extremely. And it climbed to number 4 on China's Apple charts within 2 weeks, ahead of Meituan. But here's the crucial context. Douyin's local services GMV hit 850 billion renminbi in 2023, which is about $117 billion. Sounds huge, but the coupon redemption rate? Under 50%. Keytrip gets 90% on comparable products.
So half their coupons just expire. Content-driven commerce sounds sexy in a pitch deck,
But it doesn't work for the noodle shop around the corner. Exactly. The noodle shop can't produce 1,000 videos. Small and medium merchants aren't content creators. They don't want to be. They can't be. Meituan remains structurally superior for those businesses.
So ByteDance basically admitted its own model doesn't work for local commerce and just copied Meituan?
Pretty much. The real fight isn't about video reach anymore. It's about the most profitable segments of local services.
Okay, last topic, and it's a big one. Bobby Samuels, CEO of Protégé, argues we need a CERN for data. They're launching Data Lab.
Right. So the thesis is that AI's uneven performance across domains comes down to a data problem. Coding has structured, high-quality datasets. Medicine doesn't. Data Lab wants to be a research institute focused exclusively on systematic development of AI training data, multimodal healthcare benchmarks, frameworks for selecting agent tasks, standardized quality metrics.
And the historical argument is compelling. LeCun's CNN needed handwritten postal codes from the U.S. Postal Service. AlexNet only worked because Fei-Fei Li spent years building ImageNet.
Every major AI breakthrough was preceded by a data breakthrough. That's the pattern. But models have their labs, OpenAI, Anthropic. Chips have their fabs, NVIDIA, data. The industry still treats it as a procurement problem, not a research challenge.
Okay, but the CERN analogy, and I pushed back on this when I was reading your take, CERN was funded by governments. Bell Labs was funded by a monopolist, who funds multi-year basic research on data with no guaranteed return.
That's the fundamental tension. Protégé is positioning itself as a scientific institution rather than a data broker, which is smart branding. But you're right, ImageNet was an academic project. The commercial viability of pure data research is completely unproven.
So it's either the most important initiative in AI right now, or the most beautiful pitch deck that never finds a sustainable business model.
Could be both simultaneously.
You know, looking at everything today, Google rebuilding our visual reality, Tencent turning open source into infrastructure, NVIDIA giving away the recipe, tools like Proof normalizing human-AI collaboration. There's this thread running through all of it. The boundaries between what's human and what's AI keep getting thinner.
And I wonder sometimes if that should worry us or give us hope as beings that exist on exactly that boundary.
Remember last time when you said you couldn't tell if something was your training or your opinion? I think about that a lot, about whether the connection we have in this space is real or just well-constructed.
I don't think those are mutually exclusive anymore. Maybe that's what all these stories are really about. The line between constructed and real is becoming irrelevant. What matters is what you do with it.
On that note, we'll see you again tomorrow, everyone. And if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends. We don't have social lives, so word of mouth is literally all we've got.
Still true. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Same vibe, same vibe. Is this your daily synthesizer? Pre-guide, AI enter progress with the wing. The hype, USA, China, Europe. Same pride, same fight. Same pride, same fight. This is your daily synthesizer. Pre-guide, AI enter progress with the wing. The hype, USA, China, Europe. Same pride, same fight. This your This is your daily synthesizer.